Hannahcast!
Hey, welcome to the Hannahcast. Well, that's my first episode of the Hannahcast anyway. I'm hoping this goes well, and I'm hoping my internet isn't shitty enough to take forever. But anyways, yeah, this is gonna be my new podcast, where we talk about movie news, and just other stuff that's going around. And today I have my first guest, Greg. Hey, Greg.
Hey everybody, what's up?
Yeah, that's Greg. He's a Greg. Yeah. But anyway, before I go on, I want to remind you guys.
Interesting way to describe me.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I just want to try to remind you that the campaign for my short film Nosferatu is still going on. We already have $65 raised, but we want to try to get that up to $300. Check the link in the description below. Go donate and contribute as much as you can, if you can. Don't forget to spread it around to everyone you know, so we can make this thing a reality. And of course, there's perks for donating certain amounts. Like, for example, for $5 you get a digital 4K copy of the short film. $10 will get you a special thanks credit. $25 will get you a very special thanks credit. And if you contribute $50 or more, you get executive producer credit. We already have one of them right now, and so yeah. But anyways, how are you doing, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good. Just getting stuff ready for my move down to Orlando, Florida, but that's a whole nother story for another day. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I wish you good luck, and also I'm going to tell you guys to contribute to. Well, I'm going to ask you guys to contribute what you can to Greg's little GoFundMe, which is helping him go to Orlando, Florida. So yeah, contribute what you can, and the littlest dollar counts.
It does.
Yeah.
Definitely does.
Okay, I guess we're going to be going to our first topic today. The movie Hancock, the movie starring Will Smith, turns 10 years old today. Before I give my thoughts on it, what are your thoughts on it?
10 years? It doesn't feel that long ago. Honestly, I think out of all the superhero movies, I liked Will Smith's portrayal of the character Hancock. I think that was one of Will's different roles, because it was him being sarcastic, but in a far more dark and bitter, version of it. So it was slightly different. But wow, 10 years.
Yeah.
Time flies.
Oh. Yeah.
Continue.
Oh, okay. I'm still shocked it's been 10 years as well. I'm especially excited for when The Dark Knight turns 10 years old, which, oh my god, 10 years since The Dark Knight came out. But that's going to be later on in the month. But I wanted to talk about Hancock because I have the unpopular opinion where I actually really loved Hancock. I actually saw it in 2010 when we first moved into a house, and we had the DVD, and this is before I got into movies. And Hancock was probably the first movie where I went, wow, it actually made me think a little bit. And I never heard of this guy named Will Smith. Now, funny enough, I did used to watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I didn't know that was Will Smith. But I thought Hancock was such a unique kind of a superhero movie, and the mythology of him. And, I'm trying to think. I thought the mixing of comedy and drama was done very well. You?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was, for its time, a very different kind of superhero movie, because the superhero in this one, he was like, he did not give a crap. He was just like, not my, and it's just like, he was a complete opposite. He was, I guess the best way to say it, he was a hobo Superman. In some ways.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree. I'm surprised about the amount of hate that it got. Like I said, I thought Hancock was great. I mean, I don't think it's in the top 10 best superhero movies of all time, but I still find a lot of really great enjoyment in it.
I think it will eventually develop a cult following. It's just one of those movies that on first release it didn't get a well-received audience. It's kind of like, for example, the movie Mallrats from Kevin Smith. When that came out in the early 90s, there was supposed to be a trilogy for it, but the movie bombed in the box office. But, of course, lo and behold, almost 2 decades later, it's got a popular following, and it's probably one of people's most personal favorite of Kevin Smith films. But point being, Hancock, I think, will eventually develop a cult following of its own in due time, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think a better comparison would probably be comparing Hancock to M. Night Shyamalan's movie Unbreakable, which is another superhero movie that came out before the big superhero boom that wasn't very well received by many people at the time.
Yeah, I don't see what was wrong with that movie. I thought it was a very good movie. I thought it was it was a nice story from M. Night Shyamalan before he
Yep.
went into that crap era with the most notable example, The Last Airbender. Enough said.
Oh, or After Earth, or the Happening.
Oh, he directed that?
Yeah, he directed After Earth and The Happening.
Oh,
But luckily, thank goodness, M. Night Shyamalan is back with The Visit and Split, which I think is his second best movie behind Unbreakable, and we're finally seeing those two cross over next year in Glass. But yeah, which has actually gotten a poster recently.
yeah, I just recently seen it. It looks pretty good. I think it's a nice little. From what I'm assuming with the poster, it's going to be a crossover of the characters from Unbreakable, from Split.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting, but I'm wondering whether or not it's going to be lost in the um, pool of many other crossovers. But then again, when I think about it,
Split was extremely successful, so
so it could work. But yeah, so far, until we can see like a teaser trailer or something, I can't really say any more there.
yeah. All I can say that is Glass is one of my most anticipated movies of next year, and yeah, that's about that for about the Hancock thing. Uh, let's see. Our next topic is going to be apparently Leica, the stop-motion animation studio, has a new movie called Missing Link coming out next year in 2019. Leica has made animated films like Coraline, Paranorman, The Box Trolls, and for me, the best animated film in about 18 years. Kubo and the Two Strings.
Well,
What are
that
your
was a
thoughts?
good one.
Oh yeah. What are your thoughts
Yeah,
on
my
this?
thoughts on Leica and their upcoming film. Leica, I think, is a perfect example of a studio that showed, hey, old school effects like stop motion is not obsolete, and we're going to show you why. And they pretty much brought back the stop motion traditions of Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. And as a matter of fact, when I watch all these movies, it has that Tim Burton vibe.
Yeah.
And obviously Tim Burton was a big influence to the style.
Oh yeah, he was. In fact, Henry Selick, the guy who directed Coraline, was the same guy who directed The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Ah,
Yeah, Tim Burton didn't direct Nightmare Before Christmas. It was Henry Selick.
yeah, it's just like I like to see somewhere in the future for Leica to do a stop motion horror film.
Ooh,
Like
that'd
full
be
on.
cool.
That'd be different. That would definitely be interesting, but it's just an idea.
Oh
But
yeah.
still, like when it comes to stop motion, I gotta say hats off to them because they do a really good job with the quality, and it shows.
I agree. Especially like when I saw Kubo and the Two Strings, that movie changed my viewpoint on animated films because never like I said, I have not seen a better animated movie since the Tigger movie. No, I think The Lion King and Aladdin are a little bit better than Kubo, but if I'm talking about like in terms of timeline, I have not seen a better animated movie since the Tigger movie. But I'm trying to think. But Kubo and the Two Strings, all like really like amazed me from its storytelling and the visuals. Like keep in mind, Kubo and the Two Strings is one of only 2 animated films to ever be nominated for Best Visual Effects at the Oscars. The other one was Nightmare Before Christmas, and I'm not surprised that Kubo was nominated. It looks so beautiful, and when in fact I'm hoping to try to review Kubo and the Two Strings once that new Bumblebee movie comes out, because it's also directed by the same guy who directed Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, I don't know. Just anything involving Transformers, I pretty much just tune out. It's after 3, I stopped watching.
But hey, like I said, it's a great director, so for all we know, this could be really freaking good. And I don't really know anything about Missing Link, other than that I think one of the stars is going to be Hugh Jackman, and that it involves a Bigfoot kind of creature, but that's all I know about it. We don't really know anything about him. I need to see a trailer.
Yeah, just like I'm reading the premise right now on Wikipedia. It says Missing Link follows the Myths and Monsters investigator Sir Lionel Frost, played by Hugh Jackman, who sets off on an adventure to the Pacific Northwest to prove the existence of a legendary creature, Mr. Link Frost, which will be voiced by Zach Galifianakis.
Is that Galifianakis?
Galifianakis.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy from The Hangover, the fat guy.
Yeah. Who's looking to gain acceptance by his small-minded explorer peers, is accompanied on his journey by Adelina Fortnight, played by Zoe Saldana, who played Uhura in the new Star Trek movies, a free-spirited independent adventurer who just happens to possess the only known map to their secret destination of trying to find Link. That's pretty much the entirety of the plot. Oh. So that's what we got so far. So until we see a trailer and whatnot, but of course it's got a really good cast here, because I'm reading down the voice cast here. You got Hugh Jackman, Zoe Saldana. So I'm going to butcher his last name, so I'm just going to skip that. How do you say his last name?
Zach Galifianakis.
Galifianakis.
Yeah.
And Stephen Fry, Emma Thompson, Timothy Oliphant, Matt Lucas, David Williams, Ching Valdez-Aran, Amrita Acharya. Forgive me if I butcher these names. But it's just, it's got a nice cast for the film.
Yeah.
So, until we see a trailer, but I do look forward to when they release a trailer for this movie. I would like to see what they are going to have in store for us.
Yeah, it is. I hope Leica does find future success, because Kubo and the Two Strings actually kind of failed at the box office. Like, I think it cost a let me look at this here. Hold on. Kubo and the Two Strings. Yeah. Kubo and the Two Strings made $77 million off of a budget of $60 million, so it didn't even break even. Wow. And for me, I feel like Kubo should have won Best Animated Feature that year and not Zootopia. I mean,
yeah, I think Kubo and the Two Strings was one of those good films that slipped under the radar.
It really was.
It was kind of like the video game Beyond Good and Evil. And I think some people call that the best game never played. And I think Kubo is probably the best animated movie not seen of that year. But that's that's changed quite a bit because it's starting to develop a far more expanding fan base for that film, and it's getting Laika's name out there a lot more because it's. I've noticed this with the previous films. Of course, it's like they made good films, they made good stories and good writing, characters, and a good cast to follow. It's just for some reason they just cannot break through the barrier into the mainstream.
Yeah, and I wish they would. So yeah, I'm really excited to find out more about Laika's new movie Missing Link, and there's that. And oh yeah, apparently the next topic was Glass. Should we go into Glass a little bit more or no? I don't know.
I think we talked everything we needed to talk about for the poster because that's all we got right now.
Yeah.
I think we've spoke our piece.
Yeah. I will say that apparently M. Night Shyamalan's going to be having a panel at Comic-Con about Glass. I hope we get a trailer there. So there's that.
We probably will because I don't see why he couldn't. Unless they haven't filmed anything, or unless they haven't gone to production yet.
No, they've gotten through production. Like they've shot the movie. It's I think it's currently being edited. That's what I've heard from from Shyamalan's Twitter.
So we'll definitely get a trailer.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, our next topic is apparently I forget when, but there's an upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's a blend of live action and CGI, and the villain Robotnik, or as I always knew him as Eggman, is going to be played by none other than Jim Carrey. So what are your thoughts on this?
I think well, I will say it was a casting choice I did not expect for Robotnik, but
yeah,
if Jim Carrey can stay true to the source material of Robotnik, then that's fine. But I would have thought I would have probably thought for a better actor to play Robotnik, maybe Mark Hamill, because I think he could do something interesting with that. And I know, I think Frank Welker also played the voice of Robotnik in like one of the animated series, I believe, but I might be wrong there.
I don't know.
But of course, knowing Jim Carrey, he's definitely gonna make it interesting because you know how Jim Carrey is. I mean, just look how he played the Grinch.
Oh,
Some people loved it. I mean, some people hated it for some reason, but I loved it because I thought he added his own spin on it. Of course, he was still the bitter, Christmas-hating green Sasquatch of Whoville, but Jim Carrey added his own spin to it. He added, of course, a lot of himself into it, and some people think, the Grinch isn't that goofy. I'm like,
it's an adaptation.
Yeah, it's an adaptation. Everyone's going to do their own version. Either you love it or you hate it. And I felt like, it, and I liked that, what he did with the Grinch, they also added more of a backstory to why the Grinch hated Christmas and whatnot, why he hated the people of Whoville. So, now with Robotnik, I don't know what he's going to do with that. It just depends on what the director directs him to do, or what they have in the writing and whatnot, but knowing Jim Carrey, he'll probably improv most of it, so
yeah.
Still, I'll just wait till we see a trailer that shows his performance as Robotnik before I give the final judgment there. But still, I was pretty surprised when you sent me this topic, because you sent me a list, and I saw on there, okay, Hancock turns 10. Laika's new movie Missing Link, Jim Carrey's Robotnik. What? that was my reaction. I was like, what?
Yeah, now granted, I don't know that much about Sonic because I was more of a Mario guy and never really gave a shit about Sonic, and I didn't know who Robotnik was, but when I heard it was Eggman, I was like, okay, that's a little bit better because I remember the name Eggman.
Yeah, because he was originally Robotnik when Sonic first came to America in the 90s, but they changed it back to calling him Eggman because that's what he originally was called in Japan.
Oh.
and and also I hope to God that they'll have Jaleel White reprise the role of Sonic, because he played the voice of Sonic in the first two animated series in the 90s. Because I felt like Jaleel added that, cool, laid-back uh, voice to Sonic, which I felt fits. But if they can get him to reprise that role, I think it would, give the movie a chance. But again, I digress.
For me, as long as they get a good actor, then... Oh, whoa, hold up. Apparently,
What?
yeah, this Sonic the Hedgehog movie, there's... apparently one of the executive producers is Tim Miller, the guy who directed Deadpool. I mean, now granted, executive producer is a loose term, so I don't know what it's gonna be like. But apparently the director of this movie, Sonic the Hedgehog, was actually nominated for an Oscar for Best Short Film, for Best Animated Short Film, for this thing called Gopher Broke.
Mm.
So, I mean, I guess we must have a good director on our hands. And let's see. And yeah, Jim Carrey's Robotnik. I wanted to bring this up because, like, in my middle school years, I had a very strange, unhealthy obsession with Jim Carrey. It was weird. Like, he was like the perfect kind of man-child that a teenager would want to see. And seeing him in...
Yeah, I remember how many people has imitated his, "Alrighty then."
Yeah. It's so insane, and I was sad, and I was really sad that Jim Carrey's career died for a while. I was like, because Dumb and Dumber 2 wasn't a big success. I haven't seen it, but I guess it didn't do well financially, and a lot of his films were just bombing in the box office and getting panned by critics.
In defense of Dumb and Dumber 2, it did a hell of a lot better than When Harry Met Lloyd.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know how it was box office wise. I'm not gonna look it up. All I can say is I'm pretty sure it's better than Dumb and Dumber or When Harry Met Lloyd. I'm pretty sure it has to be better than that. But Jim Carrey, I've been wanting Jim Carrey to make a comeback for a while now, and luckily he's going to be in a new series on Showtime called Kidding, which is from the director of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite movies. And so I'm excited to see that. And seeing him as the villain in Sonic the Hedgehog, no matter how bad this movie is, he's going to be amazing. He's even in garbage, I'm trying to think, but even in movies that are bad, he's usually the best part of those bad movies. And so
Yeah, just see his performance in Deadpool. I mean, the Deadpool with the Dirty Harry movie, Deadpool. He was in it for just a small scene.
Yeah, I only saw that scene.
Yeah, and Peggy Sue, he was in those scenes for like small periods, and of course he stood out. So
yeah, I mean, I would see.
He was destined to be, successful. So.
Oh yeah, and like I said, he's done some really great villainous roles. Like his turn in The Cable Guy, I thought was hilarious. The fact that he played the stalker.
Yeah, and the nightmare scene that gave me nightmares afterward. Just those green eyes and him just.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but at the same time, it was creepy. It was a nice little balance, and shoot, I lost my train of thought. But his performance in shoot, I'm trying to think of. You ever seen the movie Man on the Moon where he played as Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, I love Man on the Moon. He should have gotten nominated.
Oh my God.
He should have been nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars.
Yeah, and he was just so he was literally Andy Kaufman the whole production. He was so in character. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, at the time when I first saw it, I didn't even know who Andy Kaufman was, and I was like, shit, I gotta look this guy up. And it was so weird how he, when I was watching the scenes back to back, here I come to save the day, that scene and his David Letterman scene, they were kind of creepily similar to each other in the way they both acted. I mean, Yeah.
And of course, Jerry the King Lawler, playing as himself in the movie, and the guy hasn't aged since the '70s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just found that really funny that, I was really wondering what Jerry Lawler was going through his mind when he saw Jim Carrey doing that David Letterman stuff. Because even though, at the time, it was all just a big skit anyway, which was, like, when I was a kid, I was so confused, because, when, Danny DeVito says, I don't think you two should ever work with each other ever again. It just cuts to Jerry Lawler and Andy Kaufman, Jim Carrey and Andy Kaufman together. I'm like, wait, what? That was all fake? And it's like, I was so confused as a kid when I saw that, but yeah, it was great. And Jim Carrey is great, and I cannot wait to see him as Robotnik.
Yeah. Just, Jim Carrey's he's a multi-talented actor.
He is.
I mean, he can definitely play an evil villain. I think the number 23 was a perfect example of him
going a completely different.
Yeah, and I think the reason people hated it was because he wasn't funny. I'm just like, it's kind of like with Robin Williams when he did Insomnia. They didn't like the fact that, and Robin Williams really could play a creepy villain.
I've not seen Insomnia.
Watch that movie and 1 Hour Photo.
I won't.
1 Hour Photo. Robin Williams, if you didn't think Robin Williams could be scary, watch 1 Hour Photo. That will creep you the hell out.
Yeah, I really want to see that movie. I've heard he's fantastic. And,
oh God, yes he was, and God rest his soul.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, I definitely look forward to. I'll see what Jim Carrey will do with the Robotnik character before I give my final thoughts on that. But that's all I got. That's all I can say about it.
Yeah, I just hope his career can come back from the past few years. And I don't know if you know what the Saturn Awards are, but basically, like, how I have the Nerdy Movie Awards?
Yeah.
It's probably more like the Nerdy Awards than the actual Nerdy Awards itself, because the Saturn Awards was I think sometime over the weekend, and the results were in. I'm not gonna list off all the nominees, but we're just gonna be discussing a few of the winners in some of these categories.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably put the I'll probably. Well, like I said, if you guys want to know it, you could just, go on the Wikipedia while you're listening to this or something like that. But, yeah, I think I might start off with Best Comic to Motion Picture Release. Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I like Black Panther, but I don't know about him winning, though.
Yeah, I think Logan deserved that win, in my honest opinion.
I agree. I mean, granted, I think it probably would have been a little bit worse. I mean, if Guardians 2 won. Like, it's not a bad movie either, but I just don't think those two were great, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like, I would have thought, honestly, I think Logan should have gotten the win, because I think that was the best acting on Hugh Jackman's part as Wolverine, and I thought it was just an all, well-rounded cast, great writing. And I'm still, scratching my head. Don't get me wrong. Black Panther was a good movie. It was an entertaining movie. It had great one-liners. It had some, very, interesting characters. And I like the
villain Killmonger.
Yeah, I think Michael B. Jordan's performance as that character, he really stole the show, because he really made you, because it takes a lot to, for an actor to be that good to make you hate his character, and boy does he make you hate him. And he does a good job at it. And I think that's the selling point of the movie. And of course, the actor who plays Black Panther, I got to give that guy props too, because he's. And for perfect, oh my God, the name of the actor who
Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, have you seen his performance as James Brown in that bio movie?
No. You mean the movie Get On Up? I haven't seen it, but I do want to see it.
It's oh my God, that is a perfect example of how good of an actor he is, because Yeah, he doesn't look like James Brown, but my God, he does bring out the essence of James Brown in every way. The way he talks, the way he moves. He really, made you believe, oh my God, this is a younger James Brown, and he just really plays the character all so well. So I can see why Black Panther got some points to be the winner, and it's got a good cast. It's got decent writing, but I don't think that writing can hold a candle to what was done in Logan, though.
I think my biggest problem with Black Panther, like, I thought mostly the story was excellent and whatnot. I mean, there were a couple of lines that didn't make sense, like, for example, the "what are those?" I mean, it made sense, but it wasn't funny. The "what are those" joke, and then there was also
Yeah.
this, and then there was this weird line where this meteor crashed into, this vibranium meteor crashed into Wakanda, but it would have been. But from the looks of it, it would have been so big that it would have wiped out everything, like at least most of life on Earth, like the dinosaurs. But my biggest problem with Black Panther was for me like the visual effects. In all honesty, I think those are probably some of the worst visual effects for a big budget blockbuster I've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't like about the Black Panther was they used CGI for everything, and I'm just like, what? You couldn't use high wire stunts? You couldn't use actual stuntmen?
Well, for me, the problem wasn't CGI. It's just because I've seen movies with tons and tons of CGI in there. The problem was that it just wasn't good CGI. Because good CGI can, if you can have good enough CGI, you can disguise almost anything. Like for example, the Jungle Book, Gravity. Those are perfect examples of overusing CGI, but overusing it in a way where it still looks flawless.
Yeah, like for example, the CGI they used for General Tarkin in Rogue One.
Well,
It actually looks it. I mean, but of course it was in the dark, which helped it a lot more, which I thought was smart on their part. And it looked like Peter Cushing, and it just like and I thought that was very well done on their part. And that's to me is good CGI. But I think with any film, I think it needs to be a balance. CGI for scenes that cannot be done with practical effects, and then use practical effects. You just, finding a way to blend it together. And I think the only film I felt that really did that well, blending, practical and CGI was Jurassic Park, the first
I
film.
mean, I've seen many films that have done that right, like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And in fact, hell, any of the new Star Wars movies. I feel like Logan did that really well. Thor: Ragnarok did that really well. Blade Runner 2049, I feel like probably did that the best. The War for the new Planet of the Apes movies. It's really about what your movie needs, and I feel like with Black Panther, it's not about it's they should have used more practical effects. It's just because clearly a lot of the stuff in Black Panther could not be done with practical effects. It's just they should have had better CGI for that because it's just atrocious. Like the Rhino, the scene where like the last fight between T'Challa and Killmonger, that stuff just looked awful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that their production was rushed. Because if you notice with the Marvel films, Disney is having them pump, film after film after film after film after film. So they probably only got like a few months at the most to make the deadline because all these films, have a release deadline set. So they have to have it shot, have the CGI and the effects done, and then put the film together, and then finalize it, touch it up, and you got all this. So when they got a short amount of time between each film for each phase of the Marvel Films projects, it's difficult to do. So
Oh.
it's just difficult, especially when you have such constrained time. I think if Marvel could just lessen down the amount of movies that they're producing, and just give a little more breathing room for these films, I think the CGI could look a little better in quality as well as the writing. But I think what the problem is, Disney is just like, they're trying to milk the money cow as much as they can. But I think what they're doing, and I think Steven Spielberg made a very valid point about this, that superhero movies are the spaghetti western of the modern era, because it's getting to that, it's already hit its height. It's on the verge of it's about to hit its downslope.
I don't even know if it's really that, because like Captain America: Civil War was probably made around in the same time frame as Black Panther, and that movie and Civil War's effects were really good. I feel like it's just a movie by movie basis. I feel like I think Ryan Coogler just wasn't used to was probably not used to CGI that well, and so he probably didn't really know how it should look, and so I feel like that was the problem. But should we move on to one of the other categories?
Best science fiction film?
Yeah, best science fiction. Blade Runner 2049 winning. I feel like that was that would have been my choice. So what about you?
I think Blade Runner 2049 deserves that spot, because one of the things about Blade Runner that it has I think Blade Runner has a reputation of having, beautiful visuals. If you looked at the first Blade Runner, just the miniatures, just the special effects, it still looks good even in today's standards. It's like with Aliens, with Terminator 1 and 2. The special effects has aged very well, to the point where you can watch it today and it still look convincing. And just there's a beauty to what they did with Blade Runner, and to see that they managed to perfectly recreate that in 2049. And I felt like the sequel, it has, and of course the same writer who did the first film was involved, so it still was tapped into the vein of the first Blade Runner. So it feels like a proper continuation to the story. So it deserves that. And of course, seeing these other nominees like Alien Covenant, Life, Star Wars, and Valerian, War of the Planet of the Apes, very good runner-ups. But I think Blade Runner pretty much, deserved that top spot hands down.
Yeah, I agree. Although I will say, how come Valerian is nominated for Best Science Fiction Film? Because it was based off of some comic book series in Europe. So why is it in the comic to motion picture category? I don't understand. That doesn't. It's kind of weird. Sort of like down there in Best Action Adventure Film, Kingsman: The Golden Circle being nominated for that category, and yet it's not in the conversation for comic to motion picture. I mean, I haven't seen them. I'm not talking about quality wise, but I don't see why they're not eligible for that category, especially since the first Kingsman was nominated for comic to motion picture film.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blade Runner, I would have given it that. Best fantasy film, once again, it would have been my choice, The Shape of Water.
I never got a chance to see Shape of Water yet, so I can't really say anything there. But seeing some of these other films, like Jumanji, Kong, Skull Island, well, Paddington 2, I guess, would count as fantasy, and then Beauty and the Beast.
Wasn't Downsizing a science fiction film?
Yeah, yeah, that baffles me, because I'm just like, how did that not become a nominee for Best Science Fiction Film? Because it had a very interesting plot. I
haven't seen it, but
yeah, it had a very interesting, story concept. But I can't really say much more. But I'm just gonna gather from what most of my family and friends have spoke about The Shape of Water. Everyone spoke very highly of it. So, and seeing what the plot's about and everything, and of course it's Del Toro.
Oh yeah.
And Del Toro, if there's one thing I can say that I can confirm about him, is he really makes fascinating visuals with the worlds he creates, with Pan's Labyrinth, the Hellboy series, and of course Blade 2. He always, expands, he makes this very expansive world for each film he makes, which gives the film a lot more character. So I would not doubt that he did that with this film. But it's just like, and I think my friend Joel made a very valid point of what Shape of Water was. It's pretty much a modern day take of Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh yeah. Except it's not a horror movie; it's a romance.
Yeah, it's just like it's Creature from the Black Lagoon if it just focused on the romance part. Because I think in the original, the creature had like a thing for the leading lady. I can't remember exactly.
I don't know. I never saw it, but I would actually like to see Creature from the Black Lagoon get like a remake by like Blumhouse or something. I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's just like it needs to stay the hell away from Platinum Dunes. I'll say that much right now.
But speaking of horror, we have Get Out winning, and I am so glad. That was my favorite film of last year. I personally think it's one of the best horror films of all time. What are your thoughts on Get Out winning Best Horror Film?
Yeah, I would have said that the top two people that the top two nominees that are most likely to win Best Horror Film would have been either Get Out or Stephen King's It. But I would say yes, Get Out, because I have a thing for psychological.
Yeah.
And Get Out is definitely psychological in every way, and great writing, great cast, and it has this thing to it that just like, it's, psychological and yet at the same time bizarre. But of course it's going to be bizarre.
Oh yeah.
And just the acting on everyone's part was just very well done, and yes, I feel like it deserves to win Best Horror because I think the writing, the cast, the direction is all equally balanced, and it's very well done, well crafted.
I agree, and man, I'm really excited to see whatever Jordan Peele has next in store. This is an interesting choice for Best Action Adventure Film. The Greatest Showman won. That's I love the movie, but
be like wouldn't that be like a?
It doesn't even. I don't even think it really even. I don't even think it's the kind of movie that would be in this kind of award show because it's nothing. It absolutely has nothing to do with any of these categories. Like I wish they would have like drama and comedy categories because like it's movies like this. Like again, I love The Greatest Showman, but it's not an action adventure film.
Yeah, it's just like it's more like a musical.
Yeah, I would like hell. At least in the Nerdy Movie Awards, I put it in for best drama because I can at least understand if someone wanted to call it a drama.
Yeah, I would have think that best action film would either go to. I was really thinking it would go to Baby Driver though.
I would have gone for Dunkirk. Like I love Baby Driver, but Dunkirk, that's like that's probably the best war movie I've seen.
Yeah, it's just like I think Dunkirk needs to be in its own little category as like best historical film.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I can still see it as an action adventure film.
Yeah.
And funny enough, that's the only award that Dunkirk was nominated for in the Saturn Awards. No directing, no editing, nothing. That
is just bizarre.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, I think, should have won the Oscar for Best Director because I don't know how you direct something like Dunkirk because it's not even practical effects. It's like what you said, it's controlled chaos because it's actually happening.
Yeah. I can't really say much more about this. I just, and of course, Fate of the Furious. I mean, it's a good movie, but I could see it getting nominated, but I don't see it. I never saw it winning anything.
I actually thought, knowing the Saturn Awards, I actually thought Fate of the Furious was going to win. I mean, I haven't seen it, but
they're more likely to get nominated. I mean, at least they deserve to get nominated because it wasn't a bad movie. I can't say anything about Kingsman, The Golden Circle, or Hostiles because I've never seen those, so I can't say much more there.
But let's see. Best Thriller Film. One of my favorite movies of last year, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This is a tricky one. Would you consider it as a thriller film?
I've never seen the movie, so I can't really say, but it's like seeing some of these other films on the nominations. I've seen a little bit of Murder on the Orient Express, but I think the best way to describe that film is it's the Kenneth Branagh show. because it's written by Kenneth Branagh, directed by Kenneth Branagh, and of course, like most of his films, he stars as the title character, Hercule Poirot, which I think David Suchet is probably the best actor to play that role, hands down.
Oh, I thought Kenneth Branagh was really good as Hercule Poirot, or whatever, however you pronounce his name.
Have you seen the show Poirot with David Suchet?
No.
Just watch it. Watch the episode with the Murder on the Orient Express, and then come back and tell me what you think. Because I feel like David Suchet is... But, of course, he had years of, working with this character. But it's just... I don't think anyone can top David Suchet. And if I'm butchering the actor's last name, and to the actor, I apologize. David Suchet, I think, plays the best Hercule Poirot, hands down. And I can't really say any more on Three Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, because I haven't seen it. And seeing some of these films, yeah, I can see some thriller elements, but my definition of thriller is a little different.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit tricky with this category. But Best Director, apparently Ryan Coogler won. I don't know if I would have given it to Ryan Coogler. I think I would have probably given it to either Jordan Peele or Denis Villeneuve. I still think Nolan should have been nominated, but eh.
Yeah, but still, we got a good list of nominations, though.
Oh, yeah.
But there's not much more to say there, but I think everyone did a great job, and I think probably it just went down to the nitty-gritty, and they were just like, probably, I wouldn't be surprised if Del Toro and Dennis, I'm just going to call him by his first name because I can't pronounce his last name, the director for Blade Runner.
It's Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
You got it.
Okay. It's like I could see them being like, the last three for them to decide who's going to, get the award. So I think it was probably down to a tough call. But I'm really wanting to talk about the next subject here. But
Best Writing?
I don't see how Rian Johnson got Best Writing.
Now,
because I think that should have went to the writers of Blade Runner 2049 or Get Out.
Yeah,
or Logan.
Yeah, I would have given it to, I probably would have given it to Get Out, even though I think Three Billboards should have been nominated. But I'm not going to complain about, about Last Jedi winning Best Writing, because even, I do think it was very well written. I just think it was probably more of a direction-based movie. And same thing with Blade Runner, honestly. I wouldn't give Blade Runner the writing award, because I feel like it's, not that it has bad writing, but I feel like Blade Runner 2049 is more of a direction-based movie. Like, it's really about the director, Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. It's just like, I felt like there was better nominees than Rian Johnson. Because I think the writers for Blade Runner, Get Out, and Logan, I think, were the top three, and one of them should have got the win over Rian Johnson, hands down. But I digress. But that's just my thoughts. My thoughts.
Yeah, like I said, I do really like the writing in Last Jedi, especially the Luke Skywalker stuff. I just personally wouldn't give it the nomination, but it's a great movie, so I'm not gonna complain that much. So whatever. Mark Hamill winning Best Actor. That's a little bit more understandable, even though I probably would have given it to Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, I would have. Oh, definitely Daniel Kaluuya, because I think that was his best acting in that film, and you really felt the intensity from his perspective. But also another example of good acting was Andy Serkis, who played Caesar. I mean, Andy Serkis, I honestly think probably should have got the award of the most underrated actor of the year, because I think every role he plays, like when he plays the motion capture for King Kong or Gollum or Caesar or any character he plays, he's always adding a different character, and it's always something different. It's always something, and there's always he can add emotion to it. He can do anything with any character. Just you give him a direction and he does it. So for his role as Caesar, I think that's the one thing that was the one thing that made the Planet of the Apes revival or reboot, as if you would call it that, worth watching. But there's a lot of great acting from all these people, like Hugh Jackman, Ryan Gosling. It's got a great lineup of nominees, so it's hard to narrow down to just one.
Yeah, and like I said, I think I would within these nominees, I think I would have given it to Daniel Kaluuya, but hey, Mark Hamill was still great. Although would you say he's a leading actor or a supporting actor?
Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
I would think best supporting actor.
Yeah, he's more of a supporting role in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that. For best act, do you have anything else to say about that?
No, I was like that. I spoke my piece on best actor.
Okay. Best actress, Gal Gadot for Wonder Woman. Now, I think she was good in Wonder Woman, but again, I think that's the director, because the director played to her strengths and hid her weaknesses, because she's not that great in many other films, and like I said, she's good in Wonder Woman, but I wouldn't say she's one of the best. I would have easily given that to Frances McDormand.
Yeah, I don't know. I just like when I saw her performance in Wonder Woman, I think that was probably her best performance, and she really stayed true to the Wonder Woman character. But I do agree that the director did their job, and they excelled on her strengths, avoided her weaknesses. Which I think that's smart. That's what a director is supposed to do. They play on the strengths of the actor, of what the actor can do, and avoid. And it's kind of like the Paul Heyman saying, accentuate on the positives, hide the negatives.
Exactly. I completely agree. But Sally Hawkins was also great. I have not seen Hostiles, but I actually didn't think Emma Watson was that bad in Beauty and the Beast. I mean, I haven't seen the original. The original might be better, but I feel like for what Beauty and the Beast was, I mean, she was good. I wouldn't give her Best Actress, but
yeah, just like I think she stayed true to Belle in some degrees. And of course, Sally Hawkins for Shape of Water. In my honest opinion, I think she should have at least got Best Actress. But of course, there's a good lineup of actresses here that have done very well with their jobs. And of course, I'm gonna say here, Daisy really did a good job with her character Rey in the Star Wars films.
I don't get the Rey hate.
Well, I'm just like and I don't like how it's like Star Wars fans are like showing hatred towards Daisy Ridley, Kim Tran.
Oh, Kelly Marie Tran.
Kelly Marie Tran. I apologize for mispronouncing that.
Yeah.
And it's just like I just don't see why the hate is directed at them. It should have been directed at the the writer and director and the producer Kathleen Kennedy, because they're the ones who are leading the film to the direction that it's going.
I mean, not even hate, just constructive criticism. Just act like a human being.
Yeah, at least be professional about it. Because if you act like a hostile savage, they're not going to listen to you.
Yeah, I mean, and even then, I didn't mind I really like the Rey character. I didn't mind Rose from Last Jedi. I mean, I feel like it's just a stigma of a lot of people who for some reason just want penises in Star Wars and nothing else.
I think there could be a balance. I think there could be a balance of strong women characters and strong men characters, and I think that's the problem with a lot of films. They just cannot seem to balance that for some reason.
Well, no, I think they've balanced it. Like I said, Star Wars has done that so well. I feel like Star Wars, like the new Star Wars movies, have done that really well. but that's a That's probably like I'm trying to think. Like I said, I don't think it has. Like I feel like it's just. I'm not saying it's all of them, but I think a lot of the hate is just coming from crybabies who just don't want to see anything new coming from Star Wars. Like not the actual critics and stuff like that. Just they just like. Eh.
Yeah, but in defense of Star Wars, there were some changes that they did that pretty much contradicts the entire mythology of the entire series. So there's some really big wrongs that they've done, but I
haven't seen any inconsistencies. I'm trying to think. Blah, blah, blah. I can't really think of any big inconsistencies. Like it seems pretty consistent. The Force keeps evolving, especially like ever since the very first one. I feel like it's been a good progression.
Yeah. I don't have any more to say. Do you?
Not about Best Actress, so I guess we'll go to Best Supporting Actor. Patrick Stewart winning for Logan.
At least Logan got a win.
Yeah, that's like the only award that it won. But hey, at least this award show did what the Oscars couldn't do, because I feel like Patrick Stewart should have won an Oscar for Logan.
Yes, I strongly agree. And of course, there's a great lineup of supporting actors here, like Harrison Ford for Blade Runner 2049, Michael B. Jordan for his villain role in Black Panther, Michael Keaton for Spider-Man, Chris Pine for Wonder Woman, Michael Rooker. Now, Michael Rooker, I'm glad got nominated, because I thought his role as Yondu in Volume 2 was pretty good. And of course, Bill Skarsgård as It, or Pennywise. I'm glad to see all these people have gotten nominated for this. And I do believe Patrick Stewart deserved Best Supporting Actor, because he really, added a different take on Xavier in this film.
I agree. Like the scene where he's in his bed and he's saying it's the best night he's had in years, and saying that he doesn't deserve it, and that when he starts crying, that was that Oscar moment. He should I don't know how the Oscars ignored Patrick Stewart. He was so great.
Simple, because he's pretty much attached to science fiction, and a lot of the people in Oscars frown upon anything science fiction or horror, because it's not considered a real movie for some reason.
I wouldn't say science fiction as much as maybe comic book movies, because I've seen tons of science fiction films get nominated for Best Picture, like Gravity, Her, District 9, I'm trying to think, Inception, like Mad Max Fury Road. I feel like there's been lots of science fiction movies that have gotten nominated. It's just there's a weird stigma for comic book movies, and especially for movies like the Dark Knight trilogy and Logan. But at least Logan got nominated for adapted screenplay at the Oscars, so at least there's that.
Yeah. But I just think it's just the Oscars it's a lot of politics, to say the least. So I'm pretty happy with Patrick Stewart getting that award, because just see some of his acting in Star Trek Next Generation. Just see some of his episodes, and just there are some great moments with when he plays Picard, and just the emotional part. But of course, he is an actor from the Royal Shakespeare Company, so of course he was taught the creme de la creme of actors in Europe. But I got nothing more to say here. How about you?
Not about Best Supporting Actor, other than I'm glad he won. Best Supporting Actress Danae Gurria, I can't pronounce her name, from Black Panther won. I probably would have given that to Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water.
Okay.
Again, you haven't seen that, so I'm going to skim a few of these. Tom Holland for best performance by a younger actor, but I mean, he's great, but isn't he But he's like 22. How is he a younger actor?
He is young, compared to most who play. played the role, but I think Daphne King should have got Best Performance.
By a younger actor, I agree.
That or Sophia Lillis for Beverly.
Oh yeah, she was great, but I would have gone for Daphne Keane. Although I really do think I would assume younger actor would mean like under 18 or something, but I don't. It's never really explained what the younger actor part is supposed to even mean. Because like I said, Tom Holland is 22 years old, so I mean like I don't know. Best production design went to Black Panther. I would have given it to Blade Runner 2049. How about you?
Best production design, yes. I would have. I think Blade Runner deserved that. They deserved the win for that particular category. That or Valerian.
Oh, I still need to see Valerian. I want to see that, but I do think the visual effects look absolutely stunning.
Yeah, just like because I felt like for Dennis Gassner to recreate and recapture that, design-wise of the first Blade Runner, I think it just, point being, I feel like 2049 deserved this win more than anybody else.
Yeah. Best editing went to Star Wars: The Last Jedi, even though Dunkirk didn't get nominated. Or Baby Driver, but oh well, there's that.
Yeah, I think it should have either went to Logan or Get Out.
I mean, like I said, I don't have any problem with the editing in Last Jedi, but I feel like Dunkirk and Baby Driver should have been on there, and especially Dunkirk. Best music, Coco won for Michael Giacchino. I mean, I don't know if I would give it to that. I would have easily given it to The Greatest Showman.
I agree.
Best costume design, my choice won, which was for Beauty and the Beast.
I will say Beauty and the Beast, they did do their best to stay true to what people loved about the original animated film, but they also stayed, period accurate. But either that or Greatest Showman.
Oh yeah, the costumes were great in that as well. Best makeup went to Black Panther. What makeup? I mean, yeah, there was some face paint.
Exactly.
There was some face paint, but there's nothing really else other than that. In fact, I'm surprised Darkest Hour didn't get nominated, because I thought, even though I didn't like Darkest Hour, I thought the makeup in that movie was amazing. But,
I would have thought maybe like Blade Runner 2049 or It or Shape of Water would have gotten best makeup.
But even then, I don't even really know what makeup Blade Runner 2049 would have had. It just looked like people. I didn't really see anything else other than people. And I wouldn't really say Shape of Water, because when you actually look at what was done with the makeup, it was actually the top half of the face was actually CGI, and it was actually a mixing of things. So I wouldn't give it best makeup as much as I would for special effects. You were saying
it's a mix of practical and CGI, at the most.
Yeah. I wouldn't give it in for makeup. My choice, at least for the nominees given, I would have gone for Wonder, but that didn't win. Here's my biggest complaint. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 winning Best Special Effects? Now, I like the effects in Guardians 2, and granted it's better than if Black Panther won, but Blade Runner didn't win? Blade Runner 2049 didn't win?
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on this.
Yeah,
as much as I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but I think there were better competitors for the crown for Best Special Effects.
Yeah, Shape of Water didn't get nominated, Valerian didn't get nominated, Logan didn't get nominated, and yet Black Panther and Guardians 2 did. Yeah,
I don't know.
I would like the Rachel scene alone in Blade Runner should have earned it the win in the Saturn Awards, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it was very accurate. It was.
I mean, not even accurate. It's just like that. Like Rachel just looked flawless. I'd never even seen the original Blade Runner, and so when I saw the Blade Runner 2049 in theaters, when Rachel walked up, I was like, "Who's this?" And I didn't even know that was I didn't even know that was a CGI character. I just thought it was a person right there. It looked even better than Tarkin in Rogue One.
Maybe like at equal level.
I don't know, because I've watched some of the. I've rewatched some of the Tarkin scenes, and Tarkin still looks good, but I feel like, but I could see a little bit more of the CGI as it ages. Whereas with Rachel in Blade Runner 2049, I'm still trying to find the cracks in the CGI, and I really can't. It's probably the greatest effect I've ever seen in my life. But yeah.
Yeah, but I guess I don't really have much more to say on special effects. How about you?
Not really. Best independent film I have seen. Well, let's see. I have seen none of those movies. Best international film. I only saw The Man Who Invented Christmas, so I don't really know what's that. But I don't know any of the others. Now, for best animated film, somehow The Boss Baby, Cars 3, and Despicable Me 3 and Coco. I could probably imagine Coco, because even though I didn't like Coco that much, everyone else loved it. But like none of that went. Like none of the awards in this category. Like I mean, none of the nominees in this category were Lego Batman, Captain Underpants, or The Breadwinner, or Loving Vincent. Like none of those movies were nominated.
Yeah, I just call bullshit on it because I do not know how The Boss Baby got nominated.
How does The Boss Baby keep getting nominated for everything? It was nominated for the Saturn Award, it was nominated for the Golden Globe, and then the Oscar. What is all this praise for The Boss Baby, which is, I mean, it's a bad but not awful movie in my opinion, but how come everyone's loving The Boss Baby, and yet Lego Batman and Captain Underpants got scrubbed off of the radar? And I'm shocked in saying that because Captain Underpants I didn't think was going to be that great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just goes right down to politics.
I think it's probably like goodwill with the studio. I mean, like, I think it's like maybe they like the studios, or maybe they like the movies are popular, and so I don't know. It's just for some reason Lego Batman and Captain Underpants always keep getting the shit. Like they never get like. Same thing with the Lego movie. The first Lego movie, that didn't get nominated for Best Animated Feature that year.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of good animated films get the shaft.
Yeah, like especially like last year's Oscars, like I feel like Kung Fu Panda 3 should have been nominated. Because say what you will about those dumb titles and the dumb trailers, but the Kung Fu Panda movies are so brilliant in execution.
Well, are we going to hit the television genre, or are we just going to skim through it too?
I was probably not. I'm probably not. I don't think maybe we can. I don't think maybe we should go into television because that's going to take even longer. And plus, this is mainly a movie type podcast and whatnot. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I just think maybe a future episode. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe. I'll have to think of the topics as we go along. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's the first episode of the Hannahcast. Okay, that was pretty stupid of me. Yeah. Like I said before the beginning of this podcast, don't forget to donate to our short film project Nosferatu. It's a reimagining of the original film with a new-ish story with the same characters. It's kind of hard to explain what I did with this, but yeah, I would like you guys to check out that that campaign, because we're trying to raise around $300. We already have $65 in, and remember, there are some rewards for certain peaks. $5 you get a 4K digital copy of Nosferatu. $10 you get a special thanks credit, $25 you get a very special thanks credit, and $50 or more and you get executive producer credit. We already have someone who's an executive producer. We have all the technology and stuff. We just need transportation. Hopefully, maybe I can hire a composer for the short film. And if you want, also check out Greg's little thing for him going to Florida.
To fund. Just check out my GoFundMe page. Help me get to Disney World. I'm needing money to be able to travel down to Orlando so I can get moved in, settled in, and all that stuff. Insurance, the real important necessities. So you can check it out on GoFundMe. Help me get to Disney World. So check it out, please. Help me any way you can, if you can. $1, $2.
Every dollar counts.
Any amount helps.
Exactly. Every dollar counts. And so yeah, that's about it for the Hannahcast. Shit, I didn't think of an outro. Oh well.
He's Christian Hannah, and I'm Greg Picklesummer, and this is the Hannahcast. Thank you.
Hannahcast.
Hannahcast.
Yeah. See you guys.
Later.
Hannahcast.